giving it the beans, as it were. It's very windy here, excuse me.
The US motorcycle manufacturers are hardly known for top-spec superbikes. Neither was there an American-made two-wheeler at the race in the MotoGP class. However, a self-taught engineer without a degree created a motorcycle so advanced that it had the chance and potential to achieve notable results. With its twin-crank engine and unique suspension, there are very few motorcycles as special as the Motoczysz C1. Motoczysz inherited his passion for motorcycles from his father and grandfather, and in his 40s, he decided to build a motorcycle. Not just an ordinary bike, he planned to venture into the top 3 motorcycle racing of Superbike Championships and MotoGP. Starting with a clean sheet of paper in the early 2000s, the project was designed around a longitudinally mounted engine, crafted to minimize gyroscopic effect and aid high-speed maneuverability. Various concepts were explored to combat this phenomenon, including a counter-rotating crankshaft or an upside-down engine. However, the C1 embraced a different solution. First, the engine was rotated 90 degrees to eliminate the gyroscopic effect of the crankshaft's radial placement. This longitudinal orientation not only reduced gyroscopic forces, but also allowed for a sleeker chassis design. While the entire motorcycle represented outside-the-box thinking, the engine was truly groundbreaking. The concept aimed to completely counteract the spinning motion of the crankshaft, akin to the design of various two-blade aircraft. The engineering team achieved this by splitting the crankshaft into halves and rotating them in opposite directions. Each crankshaft operated 2 cylinders offset by 15 degrees, resulting in an engine resembling 2 narrow-angle V-twins sharing a single head and block. With the zigzag pattern, Czysz called it a Z-line layout. Initially, the crankshafts were offset vertically, necessitating a complex quad-cam head setup. Subsequent versions aligned the crankshafts horizontally, simplifying the cylinder head with a 3-cam configuration, 1 central intake unit and 2 outer exhaust camshafts. The block and head formed a single unit, with sealing beneath the bottom dead center, making the valves the last components to be removed in the engine overhaul. Gearbox was mounted beneath the crankcase. The intake velocity stacks were routed within the camshaft assembly to optimize airflow up to 16,500 RPM. Notably, of the 4 throttle bodies, 2 were electronically controlled, while the remaining 2 were cable-operated, purportedly smoothing power delivery. Cranks and cams were supplied by Cosworth, with titanium valves from the US and the valve buckets from France. The engine's placement and engineering aimed to enhance handling by reducing pitching, such as wheelies common in transverse engine motorcycles. The C1 exhibited remarkable agility, displaying a willingness to lean and stand up. Journalists reported minimal engine vibration at any RPM and observed no rocking of the stationary bike during free-revving. Lastly, an unexpected benefit of this layout was its distinctive sound, described by Michael as a very American heavy kind of V8 sound, blending with the typical V4 burbling vibes. With the unique engine came the necessity for a specialized chassis. As the engine measured only 6.5 inches in width, the narrow frame was constructed from carbon fiber. To enhance damping during high lean angles, Czysz optimized both the fork and swing arm. The fork featured sleeve and piston arrangement in the upper section, complemented by two aerodynamic thin castings designed to flex during leans. A center coilover damper was conveniently accessible within the frame headstock. Similarly, the rear swing arm was crafted with flexibility in mind, incorporating two coil springs and a single damper positioned in the middle. Czysz's ambition was set on racing, but the landscape changed dramatically. For the 2008 Superbike World Championship season, authorities raised the production homologation number from 150 to 1,000 bikes, rendering it nearly impossible for small manufacturers to compete. Additionally, the MotoGP class underwent changes, downsizing to 800cc in 2007. Despite ambitious targets and plans, the timing wasn't right for the C1, even with a smaller 600cc C6 model in the development. Unfortunately, none of these plans materialized and the C1 remained a prototype. Despite Motoczysz's initial disinterest in electric motorcycles, he continued to pursue his dream of creating a world-class American bike. This led to introduction of an electric motorcycle, the E1 PC, which went on to win the inaugural 2010 Isle of Man TT0 event, as well as the 2011, 2012, and 2013 events. Tragically, Czysz was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer in 2013 and passed away 3 years later. However, before his departure, he savored every moment with his Superleggera until his physical abilities waned.